Hello and welcome to Notice Tonight, the show that decodes the region. I am Wasbir Hussain. Bright young minds from the Northeast are flocking by the thousands every year to cities and towns outside the region for higher studies, and most of them do not return home to work. This migratory trend is indeed worrisome because a time may come when there could actually be a human resource or HR bankruptcy in the region caused by a lack of competent people to take up jobs. Why is this brain drain happening? Is it due to the lack of enough good institutions for higher learning in the Northeast? Or is it because the institutions that exist do not have the courses of choice that the students look for to make the cut in today's job market? Whatever the reasons, it is a fact that students from the region head to mainland India each year to pursue higher studies. According to a study, more than 400,000 people from Northeast India migrated to mega cities of the country during 2005 and 2010. It was 12 times more than the 2000 to 2005 figure, which was put at a mere 34,000. The flight of students also mean flight of capital, and this is certainly adds to the gravity of the matter. What should the governments in the northeastern states do? Does it call for a policy revamp? Suppose we are able to halt or reduce the brain drain, can we offer jobs here to students who graduate from the region? Assam alone has 15 lakh educated unemployed. The figure in Tripura is around 7 lakh, and it is around 70,000 each in Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh. The situation is grim and the problem serious. To discuss the issue, I am joined by Dr. Alak Buragohai, Vice Chancellor of Dibrugarh University. In Nagaon, I have Dr. Kandarpa Deka, the Vice Chancellor of the Mahapurukh Srimanto Hankardev Vishwavidyalaya. From Imphal, I am joined by Mr. Jagat Thodam, Associate Professor at Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering and Technology, Andhra Pradesh. And at our studios in Guwahati, I have Mr. A.K. Pansari, the Chancellor of the Royal Global University, and Professor Gautam Barua, the Director of the Indian Institute of Information Technology. He will be joining me shortly. I'd like to go straight, first of all, to Dr. Alak Buragohai before I come to Mr. Pansari. Dr. Alak Buragohai, every year, thousands of students from the Northeast, as we all know, go out to pursue higher studies outside the region. This clearly is brain drain, isn't it? What long-term impact could it have on the Northeast?
The loss could be of different kinds. One is that the very growth process of higher education will be impacted if the good students go away in the region, of course.
Right.
Number one. Number two, in terms of money, substantial amount of money goes out along with the students.
Very true.
Otherwise, this money could have been invested, spent for the education system of the region and the state. Number three is that the question is how can we stop it, and why are these boys and girls going every year? So these require deeper analysis. But the fact is that we are losing good students, at least in the prime times, to other states. Our institutions are losing.
Yeah.
So as a consequence, the overall quality of the higher education goes down if the institutions are deprived of the
Absolutely.
benefit of the presence of the good students. This is number one. And the second is, again, as I said, the money. The money goes out of the state.
Money goes out of the state. It is a serious issue. Mr. Pansari, you had set up, you are one of the pioneering private entrepreneurs, and your group, you are now heading the university as the Chancellor. My question to you, Mr. Pansari, how serious or how alarming is the problem of brain drain? I'm not only talking about Assam, I'm talking about the entire Northeast. How do you look at it? Your opening remarks.
Well, Mr. Wasbir, you have rightly taken a very apt subject at an apt time. And in fact, I was really worried and concerned about the fact that why what you call as brain drain, which I will speak as exodus of the students from northeastern region to the other part of the country. In the year 2009, I started Royal Group of Institution with that idea in my mind to contribute my bit to seize the exodus of the students. Professor Buragwai has rightly said that this is a great concern. While it is brain drain, it also tantamount to money drain, flight of capital, of course. Now, we will have to think that why it is happening. This is a trend for a long time. For the last 40 to 50 years, students from our region are going out of the state. And once this trend is set, it is very difficult to stop a particular trend, make a U-turn or make a seizure to that. Now, once we start looking at the regions could be of three categories in my opinion. The good regions, the bad ones, and there are called no region. The students are going for good regions. Now, for a long time in our region, we didn't have quality educational institutions. There were no private players at all. And the institutions which were there in existence offered very few courses which students of the day are looking for. So, those were the good regions for the students to go out and pursue their courses in good quality educational institution elsewhere in the country. But the fact remains that, we
will come. These are very important points which Mr. Pansari has made, and we'll continue this conversation and take it forward. What are some of the other reasons? You have talked about the good reasons. We'll come back to you, Mr. Pansari. Dr. Kandarpadeka, you are now heading the Mahapuruk Srimanto Honkodev Vishwavidyalaya. You were earlier the VC of Dibrugarh University. My question to you, how are you looking at this trend? Because if this trend continues, if there is no check or if this trend is not halted, a time may come there could be an HR bankruptcy, as I have said, in the whole of the Northeast.
Namaskar. So, in his opening remark, Mr. Pansari, he has rightly said that there are some good reasons, there are bad reasons and no reasons. So, good reasons is there are some institutions or higher learning centers outside Assam where our students go there in pursuit of excellence. So that is there and that will be there in future also. But bad reason is that unknowingly some students are going outside and they sometimes they fell prey for say marketing of the institutions from outside Assam, and say there are some very serious issues that there are some fake institutions also, and there are some institutions that looks very good, but after if you see deeper, then you will find that these institutions are not having quality. They have superficial something.
But Dr. Dekka, how do you look at it's a problem, isn't it? We'll come back to that.
Yes.
We'll talk about the institutions, good or bad, but it is a problem in the Northeast that we have to confront.
Yeah, definitely. Then how we will confront that is
we will talk about that, but it is a problem
seriously thought or analyzed.
Yes, we are going to analyze just that, Dr. Kandarpadeka, but yes, so far we have agreed that it is a very, very serious problem. Let me quickly go to Professor Jagat Thodam. He is from Manipur, but he is currently Associate Professor at a very well-known institution, Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering and Technology in Andhra Pradesh. Professor Jagat Thodam, whenever you board the flight in Imphal, you find the entire aircraft full of young boys and girls who usually go out to study. So what does it reflect? Because you have the experience of both what is going on in Manipur as well as what you are observing of Northeast students in Andhra Pradesh, for example, where you teach. Professor Thodam.
Yes, Wasbir. First, as an initial reaction, I would like to tell a story about my college time when I was studying in engineering college. My friend, his name is Varghist, he used to tell us, Jagat, why are you coming here to study? We'll study here in Kerala, but we'll go outside to take up the job. That was the first question that he asked me. Of course, you know very well it was 1980, 81. We didn't have any engineering college. I think very few of us had the facility. So that was a time when we went because we didn't have the, I think the proper facility or infrastructure or colleges for study. But now things are different, I think. I think it's different for the last few years.
So what, Professor Thodam, what are the pull factors? What are the pull factors? Professor Thodam, what do you think are the pull factors that attract students from here to outside? Is it lack of credible institutions? Is it lack of courses? What do you think it is?
See, we cannot analyze, we have to analyze in a time frame, right? We cannot, if we analyze at present, see, we can analyze some factors. First factor is because of the political situation here in Manipur.
Yeah.
Right? Parents don't want their children to stay here. They want to send out because they are afraid that, they will be, influenced by the insurgency and so many groups. So one of the factors was the political situation was there. Another was, we have to admit that we have a problem, like in social problem, especially here also. Another issue, social issue was a drug problem.
Yes.
Again, parents were worried that if they keep here, they will fall in bad company, right? That was also one of the reasons there. Right. But another factor, as we have said about the good reasons, was that some of the students, they want to go there and to study in good facilities. See, I was just going through this topic. Many of the Indians are now going abroad for study. Many are going for study for higher studies.
We will come to that. That is,
so
we'll
many of the students, right? Yeah, some of the students from from the Northeast, they go because
we'll
of
come
the good
to that.
facilities.
Hold your thoughts. We'll come to that, Professor Thodam. Hold your thoughts. Let me here welcome Professor Gautam Barua, the Director of the Indian Institute of Information Technology. Professor Barua, welcome. Now we are discussing the issue of brain drain. Now there are good reasons why people go. Usually, as Professor Thodam from Manipur is saying, that there are various reasons. One is lack of higher institutions, lack of a disturbed kind of a socio-political situation, the drug issue, the fear factor. But that is not the case across the northeastern region. But what are your opening remarks? Is the situation alarming? Do you think there could be a HR bankruptcy in the days ahead if this trend is left unchecked?
Thank you. I think that we have to also take into account the economic factor. My feeling is that the majority of the students, especially from Assam, Manipur of course is a special case, are going out not so much to get better education, but in the hope of getting a better job later on. So going to a Bangalore college gives them this thought that after I pass out from there, I will be able to get a job there. Whereas if I pass out from a college in Guwahati, I have seen what's happening, there are no jobs. So I think that is a very important reason. Jobs.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Pansari, there's a very important opening remarks made by Professor Gautam Barua, the former director of IIT Guwahati, now of course the director of IIIT. Mr. Pansari, there are different kinds of situations. Manipur is a different case where there are several factors very, very rightly pointed out by Professor Thodam. My question is, the point which Professor Gautam Barua has made, lack of a job opportunity. You have seen 15 lakh educated unemployed in Assam, 7 lakh educated unemployed in Tripura, and around 70,000 each in Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland. So it's a huge figure. I mean, does it add to the gravity of the problem that we are facing actually?
Yes,
how do you look at
this
it?
is one of the biggest reasons for the exodus of the students, because they go out with the hope that they will immediately get a job once they pass out a particular course. But while this is a big challenge, there is an opportunity also which I look. In the northeastern region, there is a great opportunity for someone to become a successful entrepreneur. They can exploit the resources available here.
Right.
But the problem is that, again, the mindset of the students of this region is look for a job after having passed a particular course. If you can motivate our students to become entrepreneur rather than just become a job seeker, there could be a U-turn, and moreover, the state government will have to strengthen our economic condition. The moment our economic growth takes place, the job scenario will improve and there will be a U-turn in the exodus of the students.
Absolutely.
Mr. Wasbir, I will also endorse the idea of what Mr. Jagat said about Manipur. Assam was not an exception. The year 70s, 18 and 90s, Assam was also disturbed quite a bit.
Yeah.
There were problem of
Yeah.
insurgency, there were political instability, there were problem of various movements, which in fact triggered this exodus in a mass way.
Right.
And once the trend is set, now the students are not looking at as to why they are to go out. Since
It's
their
become a trend.
predecessors
It has become
went,
a trend.
they also want to go.
It has become a trend.
Yes,
It has
but
become
the
a-
job is the biggest reason for the exodus of the
It has become a
students.
trend and job is the biggest reason.
Yes.
Dr. Kandrapadeka, what has been your experience? Because I'm going to ask this question to the present VC of Dibrugarh University. Dr. Deka, when you were the VC in Dibrugarh, there were, I mean, there was just talk about new courses being introduced. There was this petroleum technology that had come up perhaps during your tenure. So how do you look at it? Is it the lack of enough
No, that was petroleum
courses
engineering.
to make the cut in the present job market? Is it one of the reasons?
Yes, I think that is one of the main reason of exodus also.
Lack of
Because
sufficient
some
courses.
students, they do not find here courses. Yeah, especially in professional or technical education. No, you will find no. So here, in almost all the universities, we have some traditional courses.
Yes.
Now, new courses, say during my tenure at Dibrugarh University, I have seen that we had introduced as many as 18 say new centers of studies, and we had introduced 46 numbers of new programs, and among them there were biotechnology, bioinformatics,
Yes.
then in management there were several, then
Correct.
we have behavioral science, we have physical education, we had performing arts. So we have seen that lot of students we got, and they were very well appointed, or well they
Right.
got very good kind of job.
So
So-
the
so they had
variety
not-
matters. The choice matters. Choice of courses matters. I'll come back to you, Dr. Deka. Professor Gautam Barua, you were the director of the IIT. You see, I mean, my question to you, many will say that, oh, the Northeast doesn't lack institutions of higher learning. Northeast has an IIT, Northeast has IIM, Northeast has several other medical institutions of higher learning like NEGRIMS and other institutions. So Northeast has several central universities. It has the Tezpur University, which is ranked 5th in the world. Fifth in India. So many would come up with this argument. But my point is, I don't know whether you agree, IIT and IIM is a different ball game. It doesn't impact the students in the Northeast because it's an all India competition. How are you looking at it?
Yeah, definitely, that's true, because IIT has a global brand name. So a student will try to get into an IIT in Guwahati from all parts of the country.
Yeah.
So definitely, so I think a corollary to that is, notwithstanding the problems, if we are able to establish quality institutions here, not just an IIT, we will be able to get students to study here.
Now, what do you mean by quality institutions?
Yeah, so I'll come to that. So therefore, that is also an issue we should look at, how to make our institutions quality institutions, so that the graduates from these institutions can get a job all India. So that we create a brand so that the brand is recognized all over the country. Then the student will feel comfortable that even if I pass out from this institute in Guwahati, I'll get a job in Bangalore. So we need to have quality education here also. We must not just talk about
quality education. Let me take this to Professor Jagat Thodam. Professor Jagat, is job the main pull factor? And the variety of courses that is available to the students, are these the two main pull factors that is drawing students from the region outside?
Yes, to some extent, I think, but not as a whole. I won't accept that. I mean, not a job factor is not always a pull factor. Of course, we lack in various institutions. For example, under your NIRF, these things in the colleges, only JB College Jorhat comes into the ranking, right? Under the management, in the ranking, there is nil. And in pharmacy also, it is that only Dibrugarh University that is coming into that. So there are various courses are not available here. That is also one of the,
Courses here.
factors. Job factor, I think, I don't know how many of the students think of the job when they start studying. Actually, you have been in a college, I suppose. Everybody was in college. How many students of their college think of their job?
Just to understand the issue, I'll come to Mr. Pansari, but just to understand the issue, Professor Jagat, what are some of the courses that the students from Northeast go and take up in your institution, for example? Just to understand.
No, see, my institution normally they come for the civil engineering, because in Manipur only MIT is having the civil engineering, right?
Yeah.
And you know, there are only now only two institutions, MIT and NIT.
Yeah.
NIT, since MIT is offering only civil engineering, NIT is not taking the civil engineering students from this one.
Correct.
And again, recently one institution has started. So many of them who want to pursue the civil engineering
again,
courses,
civil engineering is a traditional course in today's. Civil engineering is I would say, is a very, very traditional course in today's job market or today's scenario. Mr. Pansari, yours, Royal Global University, yours is a brand new university. My question to you, did you look into this issue of courses? What are some of the new courses that you are offering? Or do you have plans in the pipeline?
Yes, before answering your this issue, Mr. Wasbir, let me tell you, we have not yet analyzed all the factors which leads to exodus. One very important factor about the exodus is the child psychology. At the age of 17 or 18, once a child reaches that age, it is across the country problem. I mean to say, they think of going out of the home. They want to fly from the nest. They don't any further want to be in the guidance of.
But there is peer pressure also. As
peer pressure is again a different issue.
Peer pressure. So and so is going, I have to also
That is again an issue, another issue that I am going to take separately. Fly from the nest is a issue. They don't like do's and don't do's of their parents anymore after the age of 17 or 18. So students from Delhi wants to go to Mumbai. Students from Bangalore wants to come to Delhi.
Yeah.
So this happens. But the problem in our state is that we have one-way traffic. The students from Assam, or for that matter Guwahati or Northeast as a whole, they go to the other states, but students from the other states
they
are
don't
not
come
coming.
here.
So this is a big problem. About the courses being offered, in fact there is a wrong perception to the students of this region. They think all these courses, new courses in demand, whether it is fashion design, whether it is mass comm, whether it is psychology, sociology, they think these courses are not available in the institutions available in Assam or for that matter in the whole of the Northeast region, and they just go out. But say my university, Royal Global University, we have plethora of new courses and we are in the pipeline to introduce more courses in the coming years. But the perception.
The perception. First deal with the perception. I will come to you, Professor Gautam Borua, but quickly to Dr. Alok Buragohai. What does this brain drain actually reflect? Because I want to understand more on this issue. Does it prove that the Northeast lacks the courses of choice as we have been discussing, or does it raise a question mark on the credibility of the higher education facilities in the region? How are you looking at it, Dr. Alok Buragohai?
Multiple reasons, as you mentioned, but there are multiple reasons for this. One is that it's largely the prevailing socio-cultural, political, economic milieu of the region and the state, which encourage the wards, the parents, and also the students to seek a greener pasture outside the state. This is more of a mindset than probably real, because it can be seen from the fact that large number of students, they go to not tier 1, tier 2, but tier 3 institutions, investing huge amount of money.
That is a question.
Therefore, it is more psychological, and because of the prevailing socio-psychological, economical, milieu of the region. And secondly, definitely, there is a crisis of confidence in our educational institutions, and this again is because of the archaic educational system, especially the pedagogy. And in most colleges, at least in the colleges, you find infrastructure is too far inadequate, not up to the mark.
Absolutely, absolutely. Professor Gautam Borua, I mean, what kind of a choice the students need to make? Because since there is as Mr. Pansari also said, it's become a trend, and there is also a peer pressure. It's become a fad, for, oh, so and so is going, I have to go. So it's become almost like a trend. Now my question to you specifically is, I mean, not all the institutions, as Professor as Professor Alak Buragohai was saying, he's saying that not everybody goes to tier 1, tier 2 institutions. They go to some institutions that are not really top of the rank. I mean, so this is another problem, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yes, but I think my view over there is that it's still the job market that is driving them. That's why they're going to tier 3 institutions in Bangalore, because they feel they'll get a better job in Bangalore. Whereas even if there is a tier 2 institution in Guwahati,
they're going to a tier 3 institution in Bangalore
to get a job there. Not so much that because that is better. They know it's not as good as some of our institutions here, but there is no job here. That is, I think, the main reason for going to tier 3.
No job here. Dr. Kondrapadeka, do you agree to this? This is a very, very interesting assessment that students may not go to a tier 1 or tier 2 institution in Assam or somewhere else in the northeast, but they have no problem in going to a tier 3 institution, say in Bangalore or in Hyderabad, because that gives them a better possibility of a job.
Yes, that is very true. But at the same time, we must keep it in mind that we do not have sufficient courses, career-oriented courses we don't have. In this part of the country, career or the courses which are in the emerging areas, we do not have innovative courses. So students are more attracted, those serious students who are really asset for the state or for the region. They are serious, they want to have some programs or courses which will fetch them some job. So if we have, from my experience at Dibrugarh University earlier, we have seen that those courses, career-oriented courses, could bring students from, not only from India, from outside also. Say for example, in our course behavioral science, that is applied psychology. So we had got students from abroad, not only from India, abroad. So, and we had, say, if we had in my present university, that is Mahapurush Srimanta Hankadev Vishwavidyalaya, we have seen in yoga science, we have got students from other states also.
Right.
So that is a
yoga science.
Flow is coming from outside. So if we can, if we have,
that is obviously because that's a very, very unconventional kind of a course. That is because it's an unconventional kind of a course. I'll come back to you, Dr. Deka, on this. On that note, we'll have to go for a short break, but don't go away. When I come back, we will basically discuss the role of the government, whether the government can change things, whether there needs to be a synergy between the government and the private sector, who have come up with a lot of good institutions of late. Stay on, don't go away. Welcome back. Mr. Pansari, I mean, see, so long it has been the domain of the government only, the university system or the higher education system. Now, of course, private players, they play a very big role. You are one of them in Assam, or for that matter in the Northeast. Now, do you think that it is the responsibility of only the government, or do you think it is the responsibility of both the government and the private sector, or do you think there should be a synergy between the two?
Yes. I am sure that there cannot be denial the fact that there has to be a synergy between the two.
Right.
But I find a lack of interest of the government in our state to promote the private players to do well. Now, there are big challenges before we private players to start or to sustain a center of excellence in professional courses or a quality education center, like we have invested more than 250 crores.
Yeah.
The challenges before us are, as we have already discussed, the first quality of the students goes out of the states. We don't get quality professors, though as far as myself is concerned, we have been able to pull some of the best talent from the rest of the country. We have huge infrastructure cost. Now, government should come while they promote industries by giving subsidies and in many way, why don't they
So
promote?
the same yardstick you are saying should
Yes.
be applied in the education sector where the private players are
Yes,
are
because I am of
stakeholders.
the opinion that agriculture, industry and education must go hand in hand.
I think that's a very important point which Mr. Pansari is making. Agriculture, industry and education must go hand in hand, and if the government can provide subsidies and others to the other sectors, why not also support the education sector? Professor Gautam Barua, do you agree to that perception? Do you agree to that view?
Yeah, definitely. I think money is a very important issue, and higher education particularly requires lots of funds, not only capital funds for capital infrastructure, but even for day-to-day running. If you want to have quality faculty, you got to pay them well. You got to, and large amounts of money are required. So I think I just want to say one more thing, that besides the government giving, this kind of incentives, we should also look at the fees structure, especially of government institutions. That is where I think also our society has a role to play.
But Professor Thaudam, what do you think should be the role of the government? Do you think there is a revamp in the higher education policy? Do you think that the government should first of all come to know what are the courses that suit the students in the northeastern region and take steps to come up with those courses, institutions with offering those courses, and to check brain drain? Or my question, if I can put it bluntly, do you think brain drain needs to be checked at all?
Your question is very long. Wait. Wasbir, one by one. One by one. I will come back to that point. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, carry on. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Wasbir, can you hear me?
Go on, I can hear you.
I want to point out one thing. See, how this Andhra Pradesh was one of the backward states in India. They didn't have any engineering college maybe some 15 years or 20 years back. How so many engineering colleges has developed now? What is the reason? What made it possible? I know in the engineering college, so what do this, that government gives scholarship to nearly 50% of the students. They reimburse the fees. So in fact, most of the colleges are being supported by the government. If the government, suppose they withdraws this sort of a scholarship, very few colleges will survive. So that is a fact. So in fact, the private players should be supported by the government.
Private players should be supported by the government.
That is for the...
No.
Yes, definitely. This is being supported in the Andhra Pradesh. You please look at that. 50% of the students are getting admitted there because government is reimbursing their fees. And
so what is the government gaining?
So backward was that some 20 years back.
For the sake of
government, what government is gaining is more income. Now most of the students from northeastern states, many students are going there. From many other parts of the country, they are getting students, right? Their infrastructure is getting developed. Their engineering colleges are being developed, right? I think in your NIRF, whatever the link, how many colleges are there from Andhra Pradesh? I think that itself is the indication. Itself is the result of that. So the same, I think same thing, because we know that Northeast is we are disadvantageous.
So
this private players.
So if I may ask you this question,
if
I may ask you, you have got a fairly new government in Manipur. Do you think the Manipur government also should come up with a similar policy?
Yes, I should see. Remember, I tell you, when MIT, I was the first one to suggest that there should be engineering colleges in India before this present Manipur Institute of Technology was established. That time, late Professor Gangmai Kamai was the education minister. He was known to me. In fact, when I wrote this piece of the article in that time, the Freedom, he said that no, Jagat, we don't need any engineering colleges. But what I expected was that MIT, if we are starting an engineering college, we should tie up with some other institutions from abroad so that we can provide a quality education. Regarding to that, I think the point we have said, perception. Tying up. We must have the quality education. Now, important thing is the perception that we have said it. Perception, I think, now we are going to change it. Actually, in fact, your this one discussion has changed my perception. Because I looked up in the university, as you said, Tezpur in NIRF ranking, Tezpur University is in rank 5, Nehu is rank 15, rank 22, 7, so many things. So this perception, we should change it. Today, even today, we must make this information reach the students in the Northeast.
Absolutely.
Again, the private players, they should try to provide a quality colleges. Why not you tie up with the international institutions?
I will ask the question. I will take this question to the only representative of the private sector education enterprise in the northeastern region, Mr. Pansari. I'll ask you this question. But before that, Dr. Kandrapadeka, what do you think is the role? Should be the role of the government?
He's also charging quite a good fee. He's charging quite a good fee, I suppose.
No, you have to survive. That's a different issue, isn't it? You are not a private player, cannot be a social service institution. But depends. Yes, I agree. Fee is definitely an issue, but we'll talk about that. Dr. Kandrapadeka, what should be the role of the government?
The government should help the private, both government institutions as well as the private institutions, because private institutions will be able to make the course affordable only when there is some kind of assistance from the government, that may be subsidy or by some kind of grant.
Right.
So if that is not possible, so private institutions will not be viable, financially viable. So make them viable. Something should be offered by the government, because these private institutions are also offering service.
Of course, no doubt about that.
Some advantage also.
Absolutely.
So, but we have seen that if you look to the number of universities or higher institutions, then we have seen that number of private institutions are increasing enormously. So, but it will go to up to a point. So if we at this point, if some
unless the institutions are cutting edge institutions, they will themselves not survive. So I don't think we don't have to worry on that count. Mr. Pansari, hold your thoughts, Dr. Deka. Mr. Pansari, I mean, what is the role of the government? Suppose the fee is always an issue for a private sector educational institutions, and they have to invest heavily. They have to take huge loans, and at the end of the day, unless you get a good number of students, it's extremely sometimes difficult to hold on and continue or maintain a basic quality. So how do you look at it? Do you think the government has a role even in the private players like yours?
Oh, yes, for sure. But before answering to your question, let me comment on what Mr. Jagat said. One, he said that in Andhra Pradesh 50% of the fees is sponsored by the government, and then you raise a question what the government is gaining. I have an answer to that. Government is gaining by giving scholarship and making those students study in those private institutions. What else otherwise government would have done? They have increased their number of seats in their institutions, which probably would have costed much more than the scholarship amount, and yet probably they could not have been able to deliver that quality education. So 50% scholarship is a very, very brilliant idea for any government. Let Manipur government start, let state government of our state, Assam government should start. Now the perception Mr. Jagat is having about Royal Global University, he said you are charging a good fees. Really, I am thankful that you at least know that when you give a quality education with a world-class infrastructure, which is unparalleled to any of the institution in the entire eastern region, I am not talking about the northeastern region, the fees has to be commensurate with your quality of the education and the infrastructure. But mind it, here also the problem of perception, the fees which Royal Global University is charging, the same institution, had it been established in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, the fees would have been triple what we are charging.
I have a question here to you, Mr. Pansari, but for the needy students, what is your criteria? Because the situation around the world, I will ask this question to Professor Gautam Borua as well. Around the world today, the universities, the good universities, take the brightest of students from all around the world and they make them study for free. They give full scholarships. You know, I have examples right at home of children having studying with full scholarships in good international universities. Why have they taken these students? Because they are good, they have competed, they have gone through the competition internationally. Now my question to you, my question is what, I mean, I am not talking about Royal Global, a private institution, to what extent can they go to attract good students.
Yes, we are doing that. Again, there is the issue of perception. Now, for that matter, Royal Global University has a scheme of Royal Salute to Stars. We are giving 100% scholarship, including the fees of the hostel, to the students who have scored 95% marks, who have got rank in the board, and many more schemes for the scholarship above 80%, above 90% and all that, and 100% free to the economically weaker class for different criteria even.
Right. Now, I'll take this question to Professor Gautam Barua. I mean, private players. I mean, they are a big player today, isn't it? All private players all across the country, if you see, good educational institutions, whether in the field of media, whether in the field of alternative courses. For example, the Srimanto Sankardev Institute is giving yoga science, which is very interesting to me. How do you assess the role of the private sector in the education sector, private players?
I think it's very important. Private sector has a very important role to play. Unfortunately, some perception issues have crept in, mainly in the engineering domain. The rapid growth of engineering colleges in the 90s and early 2000s has resulted in a number of mediocre institutions also coming up, and they have given a bad name to private engineering colleges, and so that is unfortunate, and therefore there are lots of them. And in fact, the last few years, you will know that a large number of these colleges have had to close down because they are not getting enough students. But private universities, private colleges are very important, because government today, let me also tell you, the way the government is also functioning, they are no longer able to afford the kind of subsidies, the kind of funding they were giving earlier. First of all, the numbers have increased. You will be surprised that the fees in the IIT is not small, it's quite high.
Yeah.
Okay. My institution, the fee is very high. Okay, maybe as much as Mr. Pansari's institution, but that is because the government is telling us that you have to earn your own money for the recurring expenditure. If I am going to hire quality faculty, I need to pay money, and for that I need to increase the fees. Of course, we got to have a branding also, so you got to have quality education, branding, good placement,
Right.
but money is also there for high fees.
Now, Dr. Alak Buragohai, I mean, let me come back once again to that original question. Worrisome trend, because, the youth go out to study, and as we have been discussing, then they don't come back to the Northeast. They get a job elsewhere. Not all jobs are great jobs, but they are just surviving. And that means they don't even have the potential of getting even that kind of a subsistence kind of a job in the Northeast when they come back with their degree. So, this is a serious issue, isn't it? Dr. Buragohai.
Yes, that way it is a loss, but then there is also the aspect of what we may call as or what is being called as the brain gain also. When students go out, good students go out and find out good institutions outside, and their academic improvement, intellectual enrichment, everything happens there, and that way it is a gain. It is a gain for the country, because eventually they come back.
Absolutely.
This is a very important point that you have raised. But to my mind, a good number of students who are otherwise deprived here, they go out, they get the benefit of quality education, and at least some of them come back.
Some of them come back. But again, Dr. Buragohai, what should be I was asking this question in the earlier section, what should be the priority of the government, for example, in Assam, or for that matter, the governments as a whole in the northeastern region, in this kind of a scenario when we have sufficient reasons for students going out, when we have sufficient infrastructural gaps in the northeast, like lack of courses, etc. So, in this scenario, role of the government of Assam, or for that matter, the governments in the entire northeast?
The priority is obviously in the higher education sector. First of all, infrastructure is one. Infrastructure has to be consolidated, expanded, and which is what the government is no doubt doing under RUSA, Rashtriya Uchatar Shiksha Abhiyan, and all that. Huge amount of money is being given. But the question is, money is one part the government can do. The other part is, proper utilization of the money, the timely utilization of the money, the visionary implementation of the money, imaginative way, that rests on the, actors of the whole of the system. The education is the teachers, the colleges, the universities. So to that extent, a lot can be done. And because it is a question of, not merely providing money and creating infrastructure, it's a question of mindset, it's a question of culture of academics, pedagogy, and everything that goes along with that.
Right. Dr. Kandrapateka, I mean, what should be the interface between the universities and the real world? Because when we are talking about courses, we are saying that, okay, if courses of choices are there, then perhaps there will be a halt, or perhaps there will be a reduction in the number of students going out every year. But who decides the courses? Because there is no assessment of the ground level demand of particular courses in the northeastern region. And university is not an institution which is supposed to cater to immediate vicinity of the university where it is located, isn't it? So no study is conducted by any university as to what is the need of that region, what is the need, what could be the job prospects in the region, and then introduce the course. That is not happening.
No, university must have a perspective. No, they must see what are the local needs, or not only specific to this place but around. Say, for example, university in say Assam must look to the need of the whole region, northeastern region.
Yes.
Then if we find that, if we look to that aspect, then say we have many gaps. So we have say, for example, we want to introduce some new programs, but we find that there is no such kind of person who can offer that program. So
and
but
no takers
university
also.
should say prepare such person in advance. Takers will be there, because after creating some kind of awareness or some study, there will be takers, no problem. Initially there may not be, but after some time, 1 or 2 years, there will be takers. And we have seen that, say for example, so Upper Assam region, so petroleum is available, but for a long time we did not have courses on petroleum engineering. We had petroleum technology,
Yeah.
but we did not have petroleum engineering, petroleum geophysics. So these kind of programs, no?
Right.
So if we can introduce this kind of programs, so need is very important.
Need.
Because after all,
Need assessment. Need assessment is very important. Jagat, I mean, Professor Jagat Thodam
is very important.
Let me ask Jagat, your Manipur, for example, is located just on the doorstep of Myanmar.
Before asking that.
And that Myanmar, that Sagaing division of Myanmar is not really one of the most developed places. Still, there is no institution providing education to the Myanmaris, maybe a few of them here and there. Isn't it an opportunity?
Yes. Before answering to that question, let me touch some issues like what have been addressed. One thing is that most of the students who are going outside of the Northeast, they are not getting good education, mind you. They are not getting good education. Because most of the institutions in India are profit motivative. They are profit motivative, right? So many of them are not getting good institution, and this is compounded by the fact that many of the Northeast students are not interested in studies. They're rather interested in so many other things, right? That is my experience. So let us keep this in fact straight. Another issue that has come up also: what is a good institution? What is a good infrastructure? Good infrastructure doesn't mean buildings. What is a good teaching? Who is a good faculty?
Well, let us assume that let us accept the conventional answers on that.
Issues,
let us not go into a debate on that. By good education, we mean good faculty. We don't mean the building. We are not talking about air conditioning. We are not talking about going in an AC bus or going in a non-AC bus. That, of course, understood, Jagat. But we are talking about good faculty, good courses, good teaching, not the building.
But
really.
that is a perception. That is a perception that we are putting it. If the college have a good building, if they have got all the instruments, all the laboratory equipment, and you are not allowing the students to operate those equipments, what is it then?
At the end of the day, those institutions
Then
are not going to survive because their results will reflect that, Jagat. I think I'm not worried about that. because those institutions will do not allow
Yes,
their
many
students
of
to
them,
use the
many
labs.
of them, many of the colleges
their
are
students will
in
not be
India,
good at the end of the day,
universities
isn't
are
it?
profit oriented. They
No, I'm not disagreeing that. There are
yes, that's why
institutions
many of the
which are
students are
profit
not good
oriented.
today. But government, it is happening. Very few institutions are good. Very
Anyway,
few students
so-
from Northeast going outside are getting
No,
good education.
Of
course, this is compounded by another, by our characteristics.
I totally agree with Mr. Jagat. He's right in saying that, and Mr. Burag Bhai also said that the issue of concern is the fact that the students from our region are not only going out to pursue their future career in quality education institution, but 3-tier education institution. Many of them are private, or rather most of them are private, which are opened with the profit motive, which are not giving quality education. They have some beautiful building facade, they attract the students, and they are not very strong in their academics. That is a matter of concern. And I feel that that was the reason I started with my deliberation, that the bad regions for which the students should not go. So those are the bad regions for which the students of our region should not go. And Mr. Jagat is very rightly said that we should, because there are a lot of agents from those institutions from other states who are working in our northeastern region, and somehow they attract with the beautiful brochures, with a beautiful building facade, and take the students, and they cannot deliver quality education.
So students, watch out on that. Which has been our panelists are warning you on that. You have to be extremely careful in choosing institutions. Professor Gautam Barua, now what is the road ahead? How to strike a balance? See, students are free. This is a free movement, like it is a free market. It's a free movement. Now, how do you sort of instill a sense of responsibility to the students that you don't have to go out for the sake of it? Or when we say that, on what ground are we saying that? Do we have the courses here, or if not, what should we do?
Yeah, I think that telling the students not to go is not going to work.
Yeah,
I think we should focus more on improving our colleges, not the universities alone. Not the universities alone. I think the colleges need a lot of improvement, and I have two or three suggestions there. One of them is, we have been talking about it, government has been talking about it, is to give them more autonomy. If you give autonomy to the colleges, financial autonomy, then they will be more responsible, they will do better job. But to get financial autonomy, you need finances. Now the government is not going to be able to, whatever you may say the government should do, is not going to be able to finance this large number of colleges. So the only way they can finance themselves is through fees. And so here I want to appeal to the Students' Union, society at large, that if we are not saying anything about fees at the school level, why suddenly when there is a BA and BSc course, when the fees become a few thousand rupees, we start agitating? We must allow the fees to become higher. The government, as has already been pointed out by someone, should give scholarships. It should not give money to the college, but should give scholarships to the weaker students, and let the college charge higher fees. The college will become financially independent, then it can become autonomous, and the quality of these colleges can go
right. I'll have to go to a break, but before that, very quickly, Mr. Kandapadeka, Dr. Kandapadeka, what about self-sufficiency of the universities? Self-funding projects. Lot of technical universities, for a premier institution like Guwahati University or Dibrugarh University. I'll ask this question to Dr. Alok Buragohai as well. What about, there's been talk that at least some departments of the university should be self-sufficient. They should be able to engage in consultancy and other things and generate their own funds. Do you think it is feasible, or do you think it is like the IITs, for example? Do you think it is expecting too much?
It is feasible. Really, it is feasible if we have some good projects, because university must do not only teaching, there are research also, research and extension. So through extension or so consultancy, a lot of money can be earned. But for that reason, two things are required. One thing is good infrastructure, good laboratory, good workshop, that is required.
Good faculty,
and secondly,
good researchers.
There must be very good faculty. But good faculty. Otherwise, say, we have seen that what has happened now in the universities as well as in colleges. So most of the faculties are on contractual basis, and if they are in contractual basis, so if there is no regular appointment, good faculty will not come.
Yes.
So that is also one reason.
But it is possible. The point which Dr. Kandapadeka is making, that universities can actually become self-sufficient provided they have the infrastructure and provided they have good faculty and good research scholars on their roles. On that note, we'll go for another short break. Stay on, we'll be right back. Welcome back. I'd like to go straight to Dr. Alok Buragohai. You see, we have been discussing this, of course. People across the world, I was asking this question a little while ago, people across the world in big universities, they're attracting the best students with scholarships. But the tendency in the Northeast is to criticize such moves. If the Northeast gives scholarships to outside students from outside the region, there may be the fear that, oh, there will be people saying that why are you giving scholarships to outsiders, quote unquote. Do you think it is a genuine reason? Do you think that needs to be ignored? Do you think these kind of things should not be questioned, should not be raised in the education sector? How are you looking at it? What do you think?
There is no doubt about it. But at the same time, let me also tell that in academics, there cannot be any compromise on quality.
Yeah.
The best students must be selected irrespective of caste, creed, language, religion, categorization and so on, because we are in a mission to prepare human resource for the country who will be globally competitive.
Globally competitive. Now, what is the role of the academia in this?
There is no doubt about it. But at the same time, let me also tell that in academics, there cannot be any compromise on quality.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The best students must be
selected.
selected.
Best students must
irrespective of
just hold your thoughts.
caste, creed,
Hold your
language,
thoughts.
religion,
Hold your thoughts,
categorization
Mr. Alok,
and so on.
Alok Buragohai. Hold your thoughts. Mr. Gautam Barua, I mean, you know, is there need for the academic community, the universities in the Northeast, to get together, come up with an action plan to check brain drain, the word, that is what word we are using very loosely, of course, and create opportunities for them to work here actually, if job is considered as one of the main criteria, as you were saying?
No, the universities in the Northeast actually have been meeting, at least the top administrators, they have been meeting. Now, you know, there are so many central universities and central institutions, and I know there have been 2-3 meetings in the last 2-3 years, including the state universities of not only Assam but the Northeast. But you know, we can only do so much in exchanging ideas, in exchanging faculty, exchanging, you know, research potential. But we can't really do much about the job situation. I think that is where the economy, the government, the private sector, government of Assam, for example, is trying very hard to get the big players to come in and invest here. And so are the other governments. True. So that is where the main thrust must be for the jobs. I don't think we getting together will help get jobs. We can improve the quality of our institutions by getting together, definitely.
Jagat, how are you looking at it? Because Manipur also, the state government is the primary job provider, even in Manipur. It is the state government which is the main job provider. So in this scenario, what can be done?
No, for this job, we must, as we said, we must train, you know, quality students. For this job, I think we must motivate the students to seek jobs globally, anywhere. Only thing first I said is they can study in Northeast, but they should be prepared for taking up job anywhere in the world. This is a global world. We must do that because we know that they cannot provide this one here. Another very good aspect I will tell you. Manipur, for that matter, I know this government department. If an engineer works in the government department, he will never grow because he will never learn the things, right? Because the department is like that. A person who is working in the L&T, they will learn about the job.
Oh, that's because of the exposure, different kind of jobs they will be exposed to.
Now he is like managing there in like in Sri Lanka. So that is the point. That is the point we try to. So here there are some important issues we can discuss about how to give quality education. And as far as my engineering education is concerned, AICT or for that matter has made, I think, very wrong sort of a distinction. Engineering is a practical science.
No.
Most of the teachers do not have the practical experience.
No.
And how can they teach engineering?
Yeah, I'll come to you.
I have seen PhD holders not being able to hold this.
True.
Like this one. You have raised very important issues. We can provide quality education. We can provide quality teachers. That's not very difficult.
That's a very important point. Just hold on. Hold on, Jagat. You are making a very important point. Professor Jagat is basically saying that, we should let the education be here. We should produce good students with a good education so that the world is their playing field. They can go anywhere and look for jobs. I think that also makes sense. Why should they only work in the northeastern region? Mr. Pansari.
Now, on this take, I will say that while we talk about quality education, what does it mean? It's not that the syllabus should be good only, that professors should be good only. What does it mean is that in professional courses primarily and basically, our courses should be designed in such a manner that they fit into the industries. The students coming out from the university or colleges should be ready to take a job in the industry. More than that, they should also be given some, as we call it, finishing school, that kind of training, etiquette, soft skill training. Right in Royal Global University, we are having communication labs and communication classes are there, which is very important. Most of the students from our state go out even for that reason as well, because in local colleges they speak in vernaculars, but when they go out they have no option but to speak in English. That makes them smart to get a job. So these are all the other areas.
All these factors has to be taken into account.
Yes.
But there is another thing. As one of our panelists was saying earlier in this discussion, that while northeastern students go out, nobody comes to the northeastern region. And now, don't you think? I'll take this question to Dr. Kandrapataka and Professor Gautam Barua. We are talking act East. Now, the government seems to be really serious about act East for once. Where they are saying that Northeast will be the hub of Act East. Now, Act East is not just about trade and business. Why not it can be in the education sector? Why not we have educational institutions where we attract students from the neighboring countries? You see, Chittagong has a medical college. People from the Northeast go to Chittagong even to do MBBS. So, while nobody comes here to do their MBBS even, maybe there are no seats. That's a different matter. Maybe there is no private medical colleges here. So, that may be another reason. Professor Gautam Barua, how are you looking at it?
Yeah, definitely we must attract students from outside. In fact, our institute is a new institute fairly. We have already had interactions with Myanmar Institute of Information Technology in Mandalay. I had gone there just recently, and we are going to have collaboration with them. We want to attract their students primarily to begin with for MTech courses and for PhD, because they do not have that many research oriented courses there. So we are starting small. But later on, we want to move over to Thailand, to Vietnam, to Laos, to Cambodia.
But that is a potential. That is there is an opportunity there. You agree that?
Very much, very heavily, very much.
Very heavily. Jagat, I mean, considering Manipur's location, there is an opportunity there, isn't it?
No, it is same. It is the same opportunity, but we have to improve our quality, our standards.
No doubt about that.
And this, in my opinion, improving the quality is not very difficult. This is another big debate, why this quality is not being improved and how it can be improved. That is another thing. For example, as you said it, many of the private engineering colleges, I'm sorry because I'm engineering colleges, because the royal colleges, they can charge higher fees for those who are coming from abroad.
Yeah.
Right? So then that will sustain them. Only thing is they have to give a quality education. And again, I insist on that. Quality education is not so difficult. We are going in an abstract way. I don't know how, there are many important personalities here, right? But I don't know. I think we are going in an abstract plane. How to give quality education as far as even we are talking about the research, all those things, I think it's not that easy. I mean, not difficult. So what I suggest is, let there be a mentoring system. Let there be a mentoring system where we mentor we have a personalities, then we mentor the various colleges, universities, research scholars, so that we can have a quality product. That is a suggestion that we can have it. And I think there are various important personalities here. With due apology, my experience says that quality education is not difficult. It just needs a motivations.
Absolutely.
Your teacher has not to be very good. A teacher is a motivator. You don't have to have the first class first to motivate the students.
Got the point.
Right?
There can be.
So that is that.
Got your sense. Got your
my
sense,
suggestion
Jagat.
is
Got the sense.
be a monitoring.
Got the sense,
mentoring.
Jagat. There can be no shortcut to quality education. Dr. Kantapateka, mentoring. Do you agree with this idea of mentoring? Did you hear Jagat Thodam first of all?
Definitely. Yeah, I have heard him. So there is no doubt about it. But one more thing, taking point of Professor Borua, I would like to say that collaboration is important. Along with collaboration, can we have a twinning program?
Twinning program.
Twinning program where, say, part of the program, part of the program shall be carried out here, and part of the program in outside, say outside the state, outside the country. That way we can start, I think.
Right. Mr. Pansari, the several points have emerged.
Students will be here,
right?
But at the same time, they will get that exposure, desired exposure.
True. Mr. Pansari, there are several points that have come up. One is universities interface with the industry. That is extremely important. Two, which Jagat has said, that quality education, you need not have every faculty, your faculty has to be good, but over the faculty, you have collaborations to mentoring, so that there is more exposure even to the faculty. So these 2 points, one is industry university interface, the second is mentoring idea.
Yeah, I have already said about that, and there cannot be denial about both of them.
Yeah.
And Wasbir, in my concluding remark, I will say that probably we are almost at the end of this session.
We have some time.
So
we have 5 minutes.
This exodus is a really serious problem, and we all must think very seriously to make a seizure to this exodus of the students.
Yeah.
If I talk about myself, I was admitted in Sri Ram College of Commerce in Delhi in way back in 1983. But I didn't get a seat in the hostel, and so I came back and studied in Assam, and I could contribute a little bit in real estate and education sector. So I mean to say, this is very important that we have to stop this exodus leading to the brain drain, leading to the money drain.
Exodus leading to brain drain, leading to money drain. Professor Gautam Barua, I mean, as we had said right in the beginning of this program, that there may be a time, if this trend is not checked, that there could be an HR bankruptcy in the entire Northeast, because nobody will come from outside to work here, and our boys and girls will go out to work. So what do? We have to make do with some average kind of people and not the best. Is this situation real?
No, I think that is a very worst case scenario. I don't think that will happen, because you see, if you just look at it, we think we are looking at our Northeast alone, but if you look at the country as a whole, a similar situation actually obtains in the relatively underdeveloped regions, be it Jharkhand, be it Chhattisgarh, be it Bihar, be it large parts of UP. So situation is similar there. Okay? So I don't think we should be despondent. I want to go back to my single point of agenda, that we must improve the economy of the region. We improve the economy of the region, everything
will fall in place.
But of course, it's a chicken and egg problem. How do you improve the economy? We want to attract industry. We have to tell them there is cheap and quality manpower here. That is when they will come, and it is always a chicken and egg problem.
Jagat, Professor Barua has a very simple prescription.
Yes, please.
Improve the economy of the region, improve the economy of the Northeast, rest of the things will fall in place.
Yes, I should say that is too simplistic, right? No, I should say that
maybe there is sense in that.
Let us improve the quality.
Yeah.
And let us try to change the perception. It has already started. Changing the perception is started with the NI revenue. Even I have changed with your program. So let us do that. Quality, let us have a discussion on how to provide quality education. providing quality education is not so difficult, in my opinion. Yes, as far as I can experience you my relate you my experience. It's not easy. It's not difficult. So let us not make it a too big a thing that we cannot achieve. Let us provide quality education. Then let us try to change the perception. Then things will go on improving. With this, economy will also grow. I think so.
Absolutely, of course we can do it. If the two young ladies from Manipur can bring 2 gold medals for India back to back, Jagat, I think you have reasons to celebrate, and we have no reason to be unhopeful. We cannot be despondent because the two Chanus.
Not reason to be pessimistic.
Yes, the two Chanus have proved in the last 48 hours that we can do it, isn't it, Jagat?
We have got many intellectuals, many eminent personalities in front of me. With them, we can build a quality education. It's not difficult. Only the private players should be willing to undertake those things. And of course, government should also be helpful to a large extent with regards to policy matters. Okay, like even we can forget about the government. We can provide quality education.
We can provide quality.
I'm confident of that.
We can provide quality
confidence.
Education. Dr. Kandapoteka, your last words.
And your program is very good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Dr. Kandapoteka, your last words.
If we have commitment, we must be committed. And for that one thing that I mentioned about twinning program, we can think about that program.
Yeah, twinning program. We can think about the twinning program. We can think about collaborations. One thing. Jagat, twinning program. Is it a good idea, Jagat? Twinning program, exchange. Part of the course you do in India, part of the course you do outside.
Definitely it is a program, but yes. It is a good one, but it cannot be, we must first provide the quality, then only we can attract the other good institutions also for that program. Say, if there are many, institutions which are not good, even in US also, right? In various parts of the other countries,
it comes back to the same point that we are making.
Colleges, it is worse than our colleges.
Yes. There is, of course, that is understood.
So
we are not going to have a collaboration with a third-rate institution just because it is abroad. Jagat, that is understood. Jagat, that is of course taken for granted. That is
happening most of the time.
No. We of course know. That is happening most of the time. Of course. That is understood, Jagat, that when we are talking about twinning programs, we are of course not talking about collaborating with some useless institution, whether it is in India or outside. That is not the point. And Professor Gautam Barua, I mean, twinning program, good education, government's role, a lot of things can happen, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. Of course, at the end of the day, we as educators must ensure good quality in all our institutions. And I want to emphasize it's easy to have quality in a few institutions, but having quality across the board is what we must aim for. That's why I have been emphasizing not so much about the IITs and IIMs,
but good institutions.
But talking about the colleges of all the Northeast region. We want to make those colleges become quality institutions. That is, our goal should not be a few quality institutions. In fact, we have quite a few quality institutions already pointed out. The IITs, IIM, Tezpur University, Nehu, a lot of them are already there. But we need many more.
We need many more. We need many more institutions actually to take care. Mr. Pansari, to conclude, basically, I mean, when Jagat made this point that the government of Andhra Pradesh is providing scholarship, 50% of the students are on scholarship provided by the government. My question to you, what has been your experience? Has the government of Assam or any government in the Northeast ever had any discussion with you?
No, not at all. I tell you, I must compliment the government of Assam for doing and getting good numbers in number game as far as opening of number of colleges, B.Ed, law colleges and many more. But they have not been able to really appreciate the efforts made by private players like ours who are having a lot of challenges before them.
Maybe that is your perception. Let us hope that that is not the perception of the government of Assam, or for that matter any government in the Northeast. Let us hope that there is an interface between the government and the private players, at least in such an important sector like education. Let there be an interface between the university system or the institutions of higher learning and the industry on the ground. Let us actually focus our energies on finding courses that can provide jobs and that are suitable for students from the Northeast, and that can also attract students from outside. Let us hope we have better days ahead, and let us hope this brain drain at least stops and we can have the best minds working all over the world, and of course also working for the betterment and improvement of all spheres of life and activity in the Northeast. On that note, I want to end this edition of Northeast Tonight. I thank all my panelists, Dr. Alak Buragohai, Dr. Kanda Padeka, Mr. Professor Jagat Thodam, and of course Mr. A.K. Pansari and Professor Gautam Barua. Good night and goodbye.